Hey guys, it's Missy Wolf, and I'm here with AJ Gatio. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing well, but I'm assuming you're pretty stoked right now because you just got to do a big release. So tell me about that.
It's the culmination of a couple months work. I mean, I guess the whole thing sort of started in February, and so I recorded the single with a friend, Andy Sheridan. He plays for Hunter Hayes. He's got a production company called Charlie Horse Productions, and it originally started as just like a demo for pitching, and you get the final product back, and we're always like sort of like, wow, this sounds so good. I play it for my brother. My brother's like, hey, can I take this? Like, can I play this at, my brother's at Miami University. He's like, can I play this at parties? And she's like, oh, cool. And it's like, your friends didn't like it. And I was like, dang, so maybe we should build on this. So we sort of, he gave me permission to release it on iTunes. That just de facto sort of became the first single. The song's called with it, and that was probably the first thing that really made me think, like, like I could maybe try to start doing the artist thing, because I've been in Nashville for about a year and a half, primarily doing the songwriter stuff, and I haven't released anything. But it's like, if you're gonna play these college shows and play the bars at night, it's good to have someone wants to look you up. It's like that was the thing that made me confident. Like, okay, if someone listens and this is their first impression of me, this is a good version of that.
Absolutely. And I mean, being a songwriter too, I mean, the music industry is a pretty brutal industry. So,
it's crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
I've heard so many stories. I mean, I've talked to so many people, and you would not believe some of the stuff that I have actually heard. And just some of these stories.
I would believe it. Yeah. I believe anything.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, you think stuff, and then, you'll run into an artist and they just tell you one of the most crazy things ever, and you just think, oh my God, how the heck did you get through that? Like, it's just some of the things that I've heard are so bizarre. But and congratulations, by the way, on releasing that. I've been watching your Twitter, and you've been like promoting it, and so I'm so happy that you're on Spotify and iTunes now with it. I think that's great. And I have to ask, are you a football fan?
I'm a big football fan. I actually coached football. I played football in college, so I'm very, very in-depth with football.
Okay, because I saw your picture with Adam Sandler as the water boy on your Twitter, and I was like, all right, this is cool.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure if you watched the game today. I know when I texted you earlier, I was watching the Steelers game, and the boys won, yay, but not sure.
Yeah, we might have a problem. I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan.
I was going to ask. Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Well, today's a bad day to be a Bengals fan, but it's the better team won today. I'll give you that.
There were some definite tackles though that happened, and I'm just thinking there, and I'm like, how did that not hurt these people?
Oh yeah, it does.
I know, and I'm such a wuss, and I can't imagine being crushed and sacked by a 300-pound dude. I just can't imagine. And I'm watching this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, that's just not for me. So you played in college. How was that?
It was interesting. So it's a huge transition. Once you go from high school to college, and you're immediately placed with people that are better than you, the same as you. So it's hard to really stick, because everyone's coming from the same place and everyone's gunning for the same spot. And I played for 2 years, and I ended up transferring. We had, I think, 2 Division I guys. I played safety at a Division II school, so there were some guys that transferred in from Division I. And first year, same class as me, and he was a stud. He was first team all GLIAC, and I was like, if I wanted any chance at playing and starting on defense, it was going to be like, redshirt senior year, and I ended up saying, you know what, I'm going to go to a real normal university and have fun. And me and my brother and my cousin and a bunch of guys I went to high school with were all there, and it was a good change. But I loved playing the first 2 years of football at Ohio Dominican. I got two of my best men in my wedding are from those 2 years. But
oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah. So football is huge. I mean, I've coached it ever since I've been out of football as well. So, and I even played club football at Miami when I was there. So it was like one of those deals. It was like 3 days, practice 3 days a week. We had Saturday walkthroughs before Sunday games, and you go like right to the bar afterwards. And it was a much more casual style of football, but it was still still fun.
Well, that's awesome. And I'm glad we got to talk about football a little bit. I know that so many people are excited that it's football season again. And in fact, where I live, you can hear all of the people in the neighborhood just screaming at all different times of the day. It's pretty funny. And I'm like, yep. Definitely football season. You cannot miss it now.
Yes. It dominates the weekend.
For sure. Now, you posted pictures, too. I'm so excited because I love this place. You actually recently got to play Belcourt Taps, and that's hands down one of my favorite places in Nashville. I love the people there. I love everybody there.
Yes.
And it's a really cool environment. How was that experience for you?
So I have a really funny story for you.
Okay.
So the first time I played Belcourt Taps was probably I think it was in March this year, and I was still relatively new to Nashville. I've been substitute teaching, and so I played there. And then the school year's getting ready to come to a close. I was like, I don't have a summer job lockdown, so I played the first round I ever got there. It was awesome because that's one of those places aside from Blue Bar and listening room, it's that's one of those really nice, well-established places.
Yeah.
Ben does a phenomenal job with the sound. But so I ended up actually becoming a bartender there for my summer job. And I've worked there and played there. And Rose, the owner, is phenomenal. And it's my favorite place in Nashville for music at this point.
Yes, definitely. And they have amazing food, too. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, they have, they're affiliated now with a new place in Printer's Alley called Alley Taps. Have you been there yet?
I've been there, played there, worked there.
Okay,
I've
cool.
done it all at this point.
Because that's where as soon as I get to move back to Nashville, which is at the end of the year, that's where we're going to be doing a lot of our actual on-camera interviews.
So do you know Tom?
Yeah, I love Tom. Love Tom.
Tom's the man.
See, now you have to tell him you know me and that Missy interviewed you because I absolutely adore that man. But yeah, that's where we spent. The first week that they were open was during CMA Fest, and we I want to say 45 interviews there.
And you didn't interview me while I was there.
I'm sorry. You know what? I actually didn't even get to everybody. It was crazy. So I have another question for you then. Do you know Carissa Nicole?
Carissa Nicole?
Mm-hmm.
I do not.
Okay.
At least off the top of my head. She's
an amazing musician, artist there in Nashville, and she's played Belcourt Taps, but she was actually hosting some of the stuff at Belcourt Taps for the Iceman when he was doing his NCMA Fest there. So just thought maybe you might have seen her. But she's amazing, too. So if you ever run into her, you have to tell her you know me. She's phenomenal.
Sure.
We love her. But, oh, my gosh, so what else do you have coming up that you can share with us? I mean, I know this is pretty big, your release of Music Mixtape Volume 1, but...
Yeah, so we're setting up the album release show. So the guy that produced the EP predominantly was Taylor Mack, and he was actually the first guy I moved in with down here in Nashville. So when I was thinking about moving into Nashville phase, I was also thinking that the how can I make this affordable for me phase.
Right.
So the apartments around Nashville are all relatively expensive unless you're willing to live in a really, really not very nice place.
Right.
So I did I looked on Craigslist a little bit, and I actually went down for a whole weekend and met with a bunch of people that had rooms for rent. Because you're not just going to randomly move into someone on Craigslist, because I think you'd probably be a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
So it was my vetting process, and I went down with my friend, and we spent all weekend, and I went and visited a couple of different places. And this was sort of in the Brentwood area, 15 minutes of downtown.
Right.
And I met Taylor, and he was just sort of super cool. 22, he's doing the personal training thing. He also did music out in LA and moved to Nashville. And we ended up hanging out with a little fire in the backyard, and he got out the guitar, and he just absolutely floored me with a song that he just put out on his EP called Aphrodite. And he was like, okay, now it's your turn. And I didn't want to take the guitar. I didn't want to play. But I did. And so we were just we were gearing up to go out downtown, and I had another place or two to hit to go meet people.
Right.
But as soon as we got in the car, I looked at my friend, and I was like, that's the place I'm moving in. That's where I want to be. And then, so Taylor's become one of my best friends.
Nice.
And so, yeah, he produced the EP. We're setting up a dual release show EP, and it's either going to be at Alley Taps or a place called High Watt.
Oh, okay.
And so we're trying to get that figured out within the next 2 weeks or so.
Right.
So we got that coming up. And then, I mean, I'm a full-time teacher at this point, so it's really just booking college shows, fraternity, sorority shows for the fall. But, you know, you're always writing, always recording.
Right.
So I'm not sure exactly what's coming up next, but
hey,
it'll be something. It's going to be more leaning towards the live shows and really getting the full band stuff kicked into gear.
Absolutely.
Because we have a full band lined up now, but the problem is everyone's schedule's aligning and going out of town, and I've never been a full tour act before, so it's all just sort of like dipping your toes in the water a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to be fun and interesting, but, I mean, you know, I play out in Nashville 2 or 3 times a week probably, so.
Well, that's awesome.
That's always the easiest way if you live in Nashville.
Right? No, I know. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, you would not believe how, you know, just for me, myself, and I'm not even, you know, the musician, but, I mean, that's where everybody is. Everybody's in Nashville, so for me, with my job, I'm like, okay, phone interviews are going to have to be the main thing for me because I'm stuck out here in California for now, and I'm just dying to get back out there because, you know, I'm sorry, but for in my line of work, you know, the on-camera interviews are definitely better because the fans, you know, as much as they love hearing their artists, right, they still want to see them, and it's really entertaining for them to watch something versus staring at a computer and only hearing something. So I know what you mean. It's so much easier to do stuff in Nashville when you're actually in Nashville. So
yeah, but even just for as a career, like I remember because I was doing some sort of like alternative rock kind of stuff throughout college, and then just sort of picking up the songwriting stuff more so, not necessarily as, you know, an artist. I'm just going to write the songs that I want to write,
right? And
then, you know, figure out to do it afterwards. But I've visited Nashville a handful of times, and everyone's like, you know, like, you can't do it if you're not here. Exactly. And I was always like, you know, there's got to be that can't be true for everything. But the more, I mean, I've been here for a year and a half now. It's like, you can't get connections. You don't, you know, network with other artists. Or there's, I think it'd be, unless you knew somebody in Nashville that was, you know, relatively important, like, you can't just be a random person writing killer songs in Montana and expect anything to happen, which is frustrating. But I mean, you just got to take that plunge. And like, I was scared, you know, to death driving down, and I was like, I don't know anybody. But there really isn't another way to do it other than just like immerse yourself and be a part of it.
And I've heard that so many times over, where, you know, I mean, if you're not willing to be there, you know, I mean, it's pivotal for your career to move there, you know, and to be just in it. And you're going to discover so quickly, if you haven't already, and I'm sure you have, is that once you're there and you're in the thick of it, you realize how small Nashville really is, because everyone knows everyone. And I mean, it is so important for your career for you to be there and be in it, because you never know what opportunity, you know, you wouldn't have had if you hadn't been there. So, I'm definitely glad for you. And so, you know, swinging back around to the teaching, I have to ask, what grade do you teach right now?
I'm a middle school teacher.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so I have a middle school. I have a middle school child, and I now have a high school child. I can't even believe it. But my daughter in middle school is really something else, and she's got, you know, all these ideas and all these thoughts. And do they come to you and ask you about your music at all? Have you given any of your students any advice about music?
I tend to sort of shy. I mean, I don't go to school broadcasting like, hey, I'm a musician. So on that front, not really. I think at some point it's going to boil over and people are going to find out.
Right.
But I'm just lying low in the weeds on that regard. I'm not sure exactly what's going to go on there.
Right. Well, you know, I mean, you do what you got to do, and when you feel it's right, it'll be right. So, you know. But all right, well, awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time, to talk to me and everything. Now, I know you have social media. Is there anything else you want the fans to know before we go?
Just if you reaching out is always easy. I run, Twitter, Facebook, so I look at the messages and, buy, stream. I don't care. You can stream beer or buy music. I prefer that,
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a really bad joke. I say that in bars all the time because, I don't care how people listen on YouTube, stream it, buy it, it's okay.
Yeah.
But, just
as long as they're listening and sharing your work with other people and getting more, recruiting more fans, I think is the biggest thing. And
that's the big thing.
And your live shows, your live shows definitely have got to gain you some fans there. So, do you post where you're going to be, all the time? Or
yeah.
Constantly updating? Okay, good. So we can make sure. So everybody who's listening right now, go onto his, Facebook or Twitter, look him up, follow him, and then, get to a show in Nashville if you can. So, thank you, AJ, so much for taking the time. I'm so glad that we were actually able to make it happen today. And if you have anything to promote, let me know. Wherever you're going to be somewhere, you have any flyers, always let us know, because Center Stage Magazine will definitely post it out there for you so that everybody's aware. And, just drive safe, because I know you're on the road, and take care. And, let us know when you got something else coming up, and we'll definitely be happy to help.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, no problem. You take care.
All right, have a good one.
You too. Bye.
All right, bye.